Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Teachings of Joshua Roundtable. I'm your host, Gary Temple Bodley. It's becoming more and more apparent that what Joshua is really doing is teaching us how to approach life from a new direction, one that engages the law of attraction and other universal laws, rather than our old approach to life, which was total control over ourselves, our people in our lives, our conditions, trying to avoid negative emotion. We have come to discover that the new approach to life works in harmony with universal laws and the system of physical reality. And the old approach to life is what I call this cheese grater life, where you're just trying to make things work and nothing's ever satisfying. And you get what you think you want, but it's not what you truly want. And that's not satisfying either. And so today we're going to talk about this new approach to life, which is really what the boot camp's all about. Well, there's way more to it than that, but you have to really understand the new approach to life if you want to engage the law of attraction. In fact, if you found the law of attraction and you're frustrated trying to get it working for you, it's because you're trying to use it in the old approach to life, and that won't work. So the new approach to life is the only way to actually engage the law of attraction, and that's what we're going to talk about today. On the roundtable today, we have Kyla Hinton. Hi, Kyla.
Hi, Gary.
And Wendy Pierce. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Gary.
And Tracy DeLuise. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Gary.
And Marcia Hada.
1 second, I can't say hi because I'm still looking for this quote.
Okay. Mark's got work to do. He wasn't really prepared like the rest of us were. I've been working on this show for the last, 6 months, a little bit every day. And I've got to, I think, where it's going to be perfect. Did you see that intro? I must have said that intro 1,000 times to get it as good as I did it.
It was really good. I like the intro.
No,
Practice makes perfect. Yeah.
How many times did you rewrite it?
I'm living this new approach to life of absolute acceptance of what is. Now these thoughts and ideas are just flowing to me. I didn't write that. That was off the cuff.
Oh, just off the cuffed it?
Yeah. Did you think I read it?
Off the cuff.
I thought you did.
It was off the cuff. Yeah.
It
was really good. But that's because I've reached this new level of effectiveness where now everything is working because all these thoughts and ideas are flowing to me, no matter, even though I'm a little bit hungover today because we had and I didn't sleep well. I'm
a little bit
through it, but that was pretty good. I have to say that was pretty good.
Well, my inner cheerleader's coming out and so we are proud of you. I said, we are proud of you.
Proud of you.
All right.
Oh, what Wendy's having. Jeez.
I know. I woke up like this.
That's great.
Yeah. Is that what the boot camp does for you, Wendy?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I'm following the new approach, baby.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, girl.
Well, that was Joshua's third book, A Radical Change in Your Approach to Life. It's probably my favorite. It's the one I give out to people most often. And it just tells us that our old approach to life of control doesn't work. And what we're trying to control is our engagement with negative emotion. We feel negative emotion. We don't feel good. We receive urges to control the conditions. And so we ask people to change. We ask, the conditions to change. We create desires based on the lack of what we think we need, all this stuff. And it just doesn't work with the law of attraction.
Yep.
This is why you see so many people who are stuck in the law of attraction right now. They get to a certain level and they're so excited when they find it and they start thinking positive and they start, trying to be an allower and trying to do these other things, but they're still also simultaneously trying to control conditions. And of course, even we do that now.
Right.
I was going to say, is that not us too?
Yeah, even us. Yeah, but we know about this stuff. We've been studying it for years, and but still, that tendency to try and control things, you really have to be focused on allowing things to be as they are, and then really figuring out where your feelings are. Are you coming from a place of low emotion or inspiration from a high emotional place? And then that's that's the fine line, though, isn't it? You receive this inspiration, and then you gotta figure out, is that really inspiration from a high emotional state of being, or is it just an urge to change the conditions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the daily aspect of living the approach. For instance, I have little tasks I had to do for the wedding that's coming up. I had to put these street names on these little blocks of wood with these little fine little sticky letters and stuff. And they weren't fitting. And I was like, oh my God, this isn't working. And I just found myself like, oh, and I stopped and I said, all right, what's the limiting belief here? Well, the limiting belief is if I fuck this up, my new daughter-in-law is going to be really pissed off at me, right? So it's like, no, that doesn't matter. She'll love me. I am love. I went through my whole little process and it was magical, you guys. I just like got this great idea, put this tape on there, done. It was just like my old approach would have been like, I would have been down for days about this. You know, like, it's not right. It's not perfect. It looks like shit. What am I thinking? I can't do this. Who am I to do this? And then when I just said, no, it came to me, it's for me. Okay, how is it for me? And I just walked myself through this little process and I was done within an hour.
Good stuff, Wendy.
And you got inspiration.
Got inspiration on how to because it's like, how do I make these little letters straight on these little blocks and space them out and everything? And then just like, oh, you do this, you do that, you do that. Oh, perfect. And it was easy.
That's what we have to understand is all this intelligence is available to us if we just stop, get into alignment and then ask.
Yeah, like somebody out there's got to know how to do this.
Yeah. We're not here alone trying to figure it out ourselves. We're engaged with our guides and supporters and our inner self and infinite intelligence and source and all this stuff, beaming the information to us if we get to that place where we're not in fear.
Right. Joshua teaches that all the time. The information is there. Just relax, calm down, because you can't receive those messages if you're frantic, if you're trying to control, if you're like, oh my God, I can't do this, that negative self-talk, you can't get the message.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to control the shit out of those letters and it just wasn't working.
Yeah, the basis of the law of attraction is that you get everything you need when you need it. And so if you need something, get into alignment and then think about it and it will come. But so much of the time we're not in alignment when we're trying to figure something out.
Yeah.
We're trying to control it.
Yeah. Makes so much sense. Abraham's book, Ask and It Is Given. I mean, I read that years ago and it's like, I just don't get this. And now it just makes so much sense. Just ask. Just ask. Like Tracy said, get quiet and ask and it'll come.
Yes.
And
magic.
And it
is magic.
It might not come the way and how fast you think it's going to come.
Right.
And so, you have to be okay with not even having the answer, too.
Yeah. That's really a big... Go ahead, Carlas.
I was going to say there's a step in the middle of I've heard it. I don't know if it was Abraham, but I've heard it said, ask, believe, receive. So the believing part is important. Like there's asking and then believing that you're worthy of it coming to you.
Yeah. And then I think you have to detach yourself from any specific outcome that you're holding on to.
Right.
Yeah. Because that will just cause you to look over in this direction and not see where it's really coming from.
Right.
That's perfect. I just asked for something. I can't wait to see how it comes.
That's cool. So you're interested and curious about how it's coming, which is a good sign, right?
Yeah.
Kelly made a post about that in the Friends of Joshua group about the upcoming cruise, how she was wanting to go, but didn't know how the money was gonna come. And I came up, of course, that post showed up for me right in the perfect moment where I was dipping into fear a little bit about where money might come from. And then remembering how much fun it can be to sit and let go of attachment, but also just remember all of the different ways that things can show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we just seem to forget because we're so used to controlling and making things happen before we look at stuff. So we just get into our habits, how can I make this? How can I figure this out? I'm like, oh, wait, it's not even my job to figure it out. Right?
It's true. I was in the shower this morning just thinking, oh my God, I have to book my kids' flights. I have to book their flights. I want them to come visit next month for spring break. All right, what if I fly them into Asheville? If I do this, if I do that, and I'm trying to make, all out, then they have to go to Newark and all this stuff. Just talking about this, that's all I do is just ask. So I'm going to let the universe handle it now.
Figure it out.
I don't have to worry. Yeah, it will come.
All right. Well, now it's time for Mark's quote. Mark's quote of the week.
I hope you found it, and we don't have to judge you for not having found it.
I found something, and this is going to have to be good enough. Okay. Do you like that qualifier before I started?
Is this going to be like book length or just really quote length?
Book length.
Okay, and please, whether you love it or not, please act like you love it.
Okay, we will.
Okay. By following your interests and passions, you move into the emotional state of bliss, which is the state of allowing. By focusing on what you love without trying to fix anything that seems wrong, you allow all that you want to come to you. It's that simple. When you're into something good, you can't be focused on something you might consider bad or wrong. This state of focus keeps you open to progress, a raising of vibration, and allows what you truly want to come into your life.
Yeah. So a lot of what Joshua
Bravo.
Excellent.
I don't know about. I'll give it a 9.
I'll give it a bravo. Come on, Gary. Bravo.
I can only give a bravo on a 10. That's
okay.
I think you got part of it there, Mark. You're excellent. No, very good. But I think in this quote, it illustrates a certain aspect of what Joshua has said for a long time, is that if you can find a passion to pursue and lose yourself in that passion, then you will naturally be more allowing because you'll be focused on something that excites you instead of focusing on things you think are wrong or bad, like a lack of a passion, for instance. And so this is a natural way to live a new approach to life because you are just focused on what you're interested in.
You know, with the finding a passion part, I think people might try to find a passion and then try to find a passion and they don't have one. So I need a passion. And I think that could be like trap or a pathway down to try to make something happen.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, as long as you're out there looking for something that interests you,
right,
you're at least on that path to finding a passion. And Joshua says you'll find an interest and you don't have to attach yourself to that interest. You can leave that interest and bounce onto something else and keep following the threads of those interests through what's most exciting in the moment. But what we do is we tend to search for a passion, find this interest, and then say, this has to be the thing that works for me.
Yeah.
And then people say, what, you just gave up on your passion? Well, no, because it's all a stepping stone. You expand through this one interest to a new place. And in that new place, you can get an interest for something new. And so we tend to look at people who bounce around from thing to thing to thing as wishy-washy. Instead of, this is the way that you travel the path to a passion. It's just as valid as any other way.
Yeah.
But I think that we're all called to certain things. And okay, for me, cooking is a passion.
Yeah.
So I can lose myself in cooking no matter what I'm feeling. When I get into cooking, I just drop any negativity or any distractions.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm attached to my cooking too. So it has to come out on time. It has to be properly cooked. People have to be ready to eat at the same time. I get attached to that part, so I can lose that. But anyway, poker's another passion. When I'm playing poker, I'm completely focused on that. I don't notice the time or anything else. And when I'm doing this stuff, when I'm talking to you guys or having these phone calls or doing Joshua Live, that time goes like that. It is so much fun. And so, I've got 3 or 4 or 5 passions that I really enjoy, and I can live in those passions in bliss. And in that, what I'm doing is allowing these things to unfold on their own, to get into deeper things or explore them, or leave it alone. Like poker has pretty much been left alone.
That just made me think that you can approach life as a passion.
Absolutely.
Like just every moment of your life can be, you just letting go and be passionate about it and just be excited and
drinking this coffee is passionate, right? We love coffee. Passion.
Well, what I really got out of Joshua Live yesterday was when they were talking to Carla about the fact that she is living her dream life now. This is the life that she intended to live, where she's sifting and sorting and figuring out through being a part of Joshua, through trying to figure out this new approach to life, or if there are other things to do, through raising her kids, through interacting with her friends, through all the stuff that she's passionate about. That is her dream life, right? And so if you accept that as your dream life, where maybe there's other aspects of it that you think should be in your dream life that aren't there now, but it's going to come. It's part of that unfolding. Right. You're on your path now. You're never going to be in this space again. So why not enjoy what's going on right now? What do you think about that, Carla?
Way to live.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been seeing, like coming to understand more and more is that it's like so many other things where I realize that this life is perfect for me, you know, even though it may, and who even really knows, but like I have this idea in my head sometimes from the outside looking in, people wouldn't understand how I could possibly see my life as perfect, you know, especially like considering all of these intense feelings that I have that aren't always like happy and blissful and blah, blah, blah. But I can see how it's perfect for me, but still sometimes I feel like I am wrong or doing it wrong or not getting it right because it's different than what other people, like this idea of a perfect life might look like. But yeah, that it's true that it is like whatever we're experiencing is what's perfect for us. So
yeah, and just by seeing it that way, it's so much more empowering. I really, when Joshua said that, I really got what they're talking about here, because I can just see from my perspective, your life, you are doing it as it truly is, as authentic, you know, in this total exploration of what authenticity is and what a truly life, you know, for you is, you know, what that true desire for you is. I mean, you want these interactions and you want these feelings and you want these kids and you want this difference between how one parent raises the kids and how you raise the kids, to have them see both sides and being part of this and also figuring it all out on your own, you know. Yeah, it's so, I mean, I got it so clear when that part happened.
I did too. And what I got out of that was that we are all living our perfect lives, and whenever we don't consider it as perfect, then we're just stopping the flow. It's like, again, we don't have all the information, we don't understand exactly what we came here to explore, so where we're at is exactly where we need to be. We're all exploring different aspects of source. If I explored the same way as Kyla, what good is that?
Right.
And vice versa.
But if we can grasp onto that, it's sort of like grasping onto a tiger's tail, that everything is right and perfect with our lives now. Nothing can be different than it is. It's all unfolding. With less resistance, it just unfolds easier. Maybe with more velocity.
It's that idea that where I'm standing right now, I should be farther along, or I should have this, or I should figure this out, or I should. Seems like that's the key, is we think we should be somewhere else.
Well, one of the meditations says our only limitations, we self-impose our only limitations. And it's just, to me, when I hear that, it's like, how am I looking at my life? That's all that matters. It doesn't matter what Gary thinks of my life or Kyla thinks of my life. It only matters what I'm thinking of my life. Well, I'm living this life now, so why not embrace it?
And we do project what people are thinking, right? We do project.
Well, we make it up.
We making it all up.
Like that's what I've been seeing, is even when people are saying something to me about their perception of my life, like how I'm interpreting it is still like that I could think, well, he's saying this to me, he thinks this, but I'm hearing it through a very specific filter, so I don't know.
Totally.
Okay, so let's go ahead and who wants to read this new article that was just written literally 6 months ago, and I've been perfecting it ever since. No, it was great. It was finished at 11. We start at 11.
Oh, the truth is coming out.
I didn't get it to 11:08.
The actual truth, authentic truth is coming out.
Yeah. That's just how it works. You get this inspiration, and then it just comes out. And this is 2 pages. It's pretty long. And it took, I swear to God, I think I looked at the clock at 10:45.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Okay. So who wants to read it?
I'll read the first page.
Okay. Sounds good.
Someone else can read the second.
Go for it.
I'll read the second.
Okay. Awesome. A new approach to life.
I'll read the third. That's okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Thanks.
Your current approach to life is one where you strive to control your conditions in order to avoid negative emotion. This approach is based on 2 premises: that negative emotion is something to be avoided, and that you have the power to control your outer reality. Both premises are false. You need not ever avoid negative emotion, for your emotions are part of your built-in guidance system, and you cannot control your outer conditions. This approach to life is resistant and ineffective. We wish to teach you about a new approach to life. There is an approach to life that works in harmony with certain universal laws and the mechanism of physical reality. This new approach will allow you to create the life you truly desire, but perhaps not the life you think you want. In order to create your reality in a way that aligns with universal laws and what you truly want, there are some things you must understand first.
Okay, so this is interesting because, there's 4 Joshua books. A perception of reality really lays the groundwork for how physical reality works, what the non-physical is, and who you are as a spiritual being. And then Health, Wealth, and Love really talks about the aspects of what you truly want and what you're focusing on, what you think you want is based on lack. And then the 3rd book, which is Radical Change in Your Approach to Life, is this stuff, but you have to understand the background first. And that's what Joshua was going to tell you. Because without understanding how physical reality works, why we're here, what the laws of the universe are, then you won't understand why this approach works. You have to know the background first. Okay.
You are a magnificent and limitless being of pure positive love and acceptance. That's who you really are, and also who everyone else really is. This is a basic fact that you must come to accept before you can engage the powers of the universe. Who you are being is a limited version of this. You are limited by fear. Mostly it is fear of encountering negative emotion. This fear causes you to attract urges to change the conditions. Without the basic understanding of the mechanism of attraction, you are obliged to control your conditions. In order to allow the conditions to be as they are, you must accept first that the conditions are never wrong. In fact, nothing is ever wrong. It is always right.
Especially yourself. So the first part of that is we have to understand that we are worthy of everything that we want, everything we truly want. And we are non-physical beings living in a physical reality for the purpose of self-discovery. But that self-discovery can be enhanced by adopting an approach to life that works with the laws of the universe, right? And so that's what this is all about, because who we're being in any moment of time is what causes us to attract what we attract. And so if we're being a limited version of who we really are, we're attracting a reality based on certain limitations that we self-impose on ourselves. So if you reduce those self-imposed limitations, then you attract a greater, more enhanced reality, and one that aligns with those intentions you set prior to birth.
So you're saying accept as the basis that you are a magnificent and limitless being of pure positive love and acceptance. Accept that and be through that and try to live that and understand that as a basis of you.
Yeah. And then realize that,
and approach life that way.
yeah. And then realize that if you're not being that fullest version of you, it's due to some fear.
Right.
And fear is either rational or irrational. If the subject of fear is going to kill you, then that's a rational fear and you can change the conditions. But if it's irrational, like this person doesn't like me, I got to change who I am being so that they like me, right? Then that fear causes you to attract these ideas that you should be different than you are. You should be being different than who you really are. Instead of being as a magnificent and limitless being of pure positive love and acceptance, you're trying to change yourself to accommodate what you think this person wants.
Yeah.
And that's highly limiting, of course, because you're not being authentic. And
so
that's
what I
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask about your guys' experience, because what I've been seeing a lot lately is feeling myself in these situations where I can no longer change to be who I think other people want me to be. And I can't, like, so that I can't go back to the old me. But I also, it feels like, I know it's a limiting belief or whatever, but like can't quite reach the fullest version of me, like can't quite fully embody that. And so I keep being in these situations where I feel kind of in this limbo. Like I see who I really am, but it feels like I can't quite reach that to be that. And I can't go back. And so I don't know, it's just this weird.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a lot like that. So prior to the boot camp, I was being a student of Joshua, like everyone else, and getting stuff out of this. And my reality changed quite a bit for the better because of that. And I allowed it to change, and everything worked out. But then once the boot camp happened, I saw myself in a new light from a higher perspective as a preeminent spiritual leader and teacher. And in that view of myself, my whole reality's changed. I am now living the life of a spiritual leader and teacher. My conversations are always around this. Most of the conversations are with people in the Joshua community, like we're doing right now. And so I feel highly effective. Just like the opening statement today that I did not write down, words are just flowing. The right words are just flowing. And when I'm having a conversation with anyone, the right words are just flowing. It's just like feels really effective. And so as I see myself as this, while it still could be considered limiting, because now I've put myself in this box of spiritual leader and teacher, it is another experience at a higher level.
Is that why you have 5 people sitting at your feet right now? That's why. Because I was wondering what
they're all back there. Uh-huh.
Like,
and I'm wearing a robe.
You're wearing a robe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of candles lit.
Yeah. It's a bathrobe, but it's a robe.
No, I'm a cool spiritual leader and teacher.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. Jeez.
Well, I wanted to say, going back to that Joshua said the other day, I think it was in the live, that if it comes to you, you are worthy of it. And that really helped me get in touch with all these, you have these thoughts or you have these ideas, oh, I could never do that or whatever. It's like, well, it came to me, so I must be worthy of it. So I need to explore it a little bit further. And that was, I liked that aspect of approaching things from that direction.
Yeah, especially a passion.
Yeah.
Or an interest. If you get the interest for something or the idea for something, then that was given to you because you've reached a vibrational alignment with it. And so that means you're worthy of exploring it as far as you want to take it.
Yeah. And that could just be that step one. You don't have to, because I used to think, oh, if I'm going to explore this, I have to go, do all the steps or get all the supplies or whatever the case may be. But it's like, no, just take that first step and then it may open my eyes to another direction.
I remember first step for you was going to pet a horse.
That's right. That's right.
Didn't mean you had to learn how to ride or take lessons or buy a horse or anything.
No. Well, you remember I used to have a horse, and that's why they said, because that's when I said I felt passionate about something and felt love, and they said, well, then go pet a horse.
Yeah.
So, in thinking of your question, Kyla, like, I'm wondering, so you also feel like you're not to that potential of a magnificent, you said you don't feel like you're living up to that state or ideal. Is that part of it? Like you don't feel like you're there? Yeah. Yeah. Is that your thing?
Go ahead.
Because it's impossible to get there, right?
Yeah. I was going to say, and where my brain was like processing through, or what I guess the answers that were coming in was that like the only issue, it's not that I'm not, it's that I think I should be somewhere different than I am. Like wherever I am is perfect and it's progress from where I've been and blah, 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 blah. And the only thing wrong is that I'm judging myself for not being something else.
Yeah.
But so thanks. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is whittling away the limiting beliefs to become closer to who we really are.
Totally.
Infinite onion is never going to be whittled away enough.
Yeah. And the blended being, being a blended being.
Yeah. So if we can just get glimpses of it, that's a huge stride in the right direction.
Yeah.
And we can every day, you can get, you can get glimpses of it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay. Your limited perspective caused by fear creates the illusion that something is wrong. However, from the higher, broader perspective, nothing is ever wrong or bad. It is actually neutral. Your judgment, which is often based in fear, causes you to perceive certain aspects of yourself, your life, the people in your life, and the world in which you live as wrong and bad. This is the illusion created by a limited perspective derived from fear. The truth is that nothing is ever wrong. It is always right. Did I just read that?
Yeah, that was good.
Oh no, I thought I read that before.
No, that was good.
Okay.
So this is, the first words ever written was everything is right. There is no wrong anywhere in the universe. This is another building block or foundational stone or cornerstone of this new approach to life. You have to come to see things you think is wrong from a higher perspective. You have to be neutral. It's your judgment that causes you to perceive something's wrong, and that judgment is always based on a limiting belief. Without the limiting belief, you could never see it as wrong. It'd be impossible. So when you find something you think is wrong, or if you believe someone is doing something bad or wrong, rather than trying to change them, look at the subject again from a higher perspective and see how it could be right, especially for you. And then discover that limiting belief. All right, let's go to the next one.
If you approach life as if some things are wrong, you will sink into lower vibrational states of being and feel negative emotion. You will assume that the subject that causes negative emotion is bad and wrong, and so you seek to control those subjects. It could be a spouse, a friend, a child, etc. Your desire to control them in order to ease your fear causes you to take action out of fear. That action will not lead to the desired result. In fact, all action taken in fear causes you to move away from that which you truly want.
So there's a couple of things in this one is that when you think things are wrong, you naturally sink into lower vibrational states of being. And the law of attraction works to bring you thoughts and ideas and actions in order to change some condition. Now, think about it. If you are walking down a path in the woods and you hear a rustle in the trees and you think you see a bear, you're going to feel fear and then attract urges to change the conditions. And so you might run away or take another path or shoot the bear or whatever it is, right? That's changing the conditions. And Joshua was saying that they'll concede that in those times, maybe the best option is to change the conditions. But in all other fear that's irrational, if you try and change those conditions, knowing that this is here for you in some way, probably to alert you to a limiting belief that you need to address before you can move to become a vibrational match to that desire you're asking for. If you do something to change a condition that's actually perfect, then you're just, mucking up the whole system and throwing a monkey wrench in the gearbox of it all, and you're moving away from what you actually want. That's why it's so important. I think they're really talking about it's way more effective not to take action you know, when you feel negative emotion, than even to take action when you're inspired. I mean, of course, there's two sides to that one coin. You don't want to take action on an urge to change a condition, and you don't want to be limited by fear when you're inspired to take some action that will lead to your highest good. So you got to get those two things going. And that's the tricky part, is to figure out, is this an inspiration or is this an urge?
I had this situation where I was with my gentleman friend, and I hadn't seen him in a while. And it just, I don't know, it was just a very interesting, it was a manifestation event for sure. But I arrived and we were talking, and it was just a lot of, it felt like I could see that he was in a lot of fear, and it felt like it was being unloaded onto me or wanting to be transferred to me, you know? And so I was just trying to understand why it was happening. I didn't know, like, my reaction was to try to make it stop somehow. And then I had the thought, like, should I leave? But I just kind of stayed and like listened and waited to, I guess, receive inspiration, but thought again, like, should I just get up and walk out? And then when there was a break and it was my turn to respond, rather than making him wrong, I just said, I know that I deserve to be treated with love and respect. And I know this, and I know this. And I didn't say anything about him or what he was doing. I was just like, it was almost like I was just talking to myself. Like, I know that I deserve love and respect. And so it was just a little bit more conflict. And then I just stayed calm and stayed open. And then he was like, I think it's best if we end our visit. And it was just like, it just wrapped itself up for me. The answer was given to me. I didn't have to change. Like, it wasn't easy to sit there and be in it. And I was very confused, but like, just waited. And then
afterwards, interesting. Yeah.
Right. And again, like,
thinking, was that an urge? You know, that thought that came to you, I should just get up and leave. Was that an urge?
Right.
Inspiration. It's like, oh. And you
eventually he succumbed to the urge to change the conditions because he couldn't resolve his fear internally like Carla was doing.
Right.
You know? And so he was probably trying to change Carla and then couldn't do it because Carla didn't succumb to it.
Right.
And then the only thing he could change was himself being there. Yeah, that's interesting. Great story. Really good illustration. All right, let's go on to the next one.
All right. Let's see. I think I got lost.
If you approach life.
I thought it was
there are some things, right?
Yeah.
Hold on, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm wrong.
There are some things that you cannot control, and so you allow your attention to these subjects to cause you to feel bad. You linger in negative emotion without the solution to these perceived problems. In negative emotion, you are not available to receive inspiration. The goal of a new approach to life is to find a way to feel good, be in alignment, in order to become receptive to inspiration. Action taken in inspiration is based in love, and those actions will always lead to the manifestation of your true desires.
Very good. Okay. So that's talking about, you know, like getting upset about government or getting upset about, you know, things that are totally beyond your control. It just causes you to linger in this subtle negative emotion.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Kyla, your turn.
Oh, Kyla's turn.
Sure.
Thanks, Trace. When it comes to your desires, you have two kinds. Those you think you want and those you truly want. What's the difference? The desires you think you want are often based in lack. Those desires do not exist in your reality now. And so you think that by manifesting these things, it will fix some problem, fill some void, or patch some hole. The fact is that you have no problems. There is no hole, and the void can only be filled from within.
Yeah. So the illusion is that you have a problem and that problem can be fixed by some effort.
Yeah.
And it's just not how the universe works. But we have all been trained to, especially in the Western society, to attain certain goals in order to feel good, to be happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we're seeing is more and more people are realizing that this approach doesn't work. And so they're finding law of attraction, and they're seeking a new approach to life because this approach is ineffective. You know, you make $1 million, you get there and you think that's going to solve all your problems, but it never does. In fact, it brings up more problems because you're thinking it's going to fix some void.
Right.
Listening to two comedians talk the other day, and they're saying that comedians generally become comedians because they've got such this void they're trying to fix, and the laughter on stage temporarily fills the void, but it's never enough. So they have to keep going. And actors are like this too. They have to keep going and going to fill this void. And no matter how high they get, it's never enough.
It's like any addiction. It's like shopping or drinking or drugs or being a comedian or sex. We have lots of ways.
Yeah, to try and fill this void. Yeah. But the void can only be filled from within.
That's right.
Right.
Okay. Next one.
You are the creator of your reality. You create by becoming a vibrational match to what you truly want. What you truly want is to express your love and acceptance to yourself, your world, and those in your life. You want to experience true freedom and abundance. And you truly want to expand through experience in joy. You don't really want things. You want the feeling you think those things will bring you. This is a feeling reality, and all that ever matters is how you feel.
So it's an inside job.
Yeah.
You know, and the basis of that is you have to understand you're worthy. You have to understand, you know, who you authentically are. You have to understand how the system works. And you have to know that things are not inherently right or wrong. It's all based in judgment. And so you have to get neutral on that. And so that you can get into this next step of allowing things to unfold based on what you truly want, not what you think you want. And allowing the universe to do its job and bring you the most elegant manifestation of what you truly want. That's the new approach to life.
Yeah.
Yep. If those desires that you intended prior to your birth unfolded, you would live a life in bliss. Well, and that's what you truly want. Bliss is this idea that everything is right, everything's working out, you're in alignment more often. And that's the bliss that you feel when you're totally wrapped up in some passion that you're involved with.
But I'm beginning to feel like this is bliss.
Right.
Life is bliss.
Yeah.
It's just my judgment of it that makes it not bliss.
Right.
Exactly right.
Yep.
Because you can be passionate about life.
Yeah. I can be passionate about this moment.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah, you know, that was the trickiest thing for me when I, you know, and I've told you the story before, so I'm not going to tell the story, but when I was into like one of the hardest times of my life and I started to try this approach to life and just feel good for just the basis of feeling good, not to make things happen. The most challenging part was waiting for inspiration and not doing shit until I had that inspiration.
Yeah.
You know, that was the hardest part. And then just to feel, and then do what I needed to do to feel good, which was sit in my car, chill out, meditate, listen to music. In some ways, in the old approach, you feel like a freaking loser, you know, because I needed to find a job and I needed to get my, you know, these.
Yeah.
You know,
what's wrong with you?
Shoulds. I need to get my life. I need to make money. I need to pay for this condo. And, you know, and then what am I doing? Sitting in this car, feeling good? Fuck that.
How dare I do that?
Right. But
I need to be out there looking for a job.
Exactly.
McDonald's if I have to, right?
Right. And I did have, you know, I was doing temp work, but, you know, so I was doing the old approach for like, I had hit my rock bottom because I had been doing the grinding approach, trying it before, and it wasn't working. So I kind of surrendered to, all right, man, I'm going to do this feel good thing, you know, and
feel good thing.
being in a park or, you know, meditating or chilling out, you know, felt weird, but I stuck to it. And then things started to flip pretty fast. Things started, you know, I attracted a job after that, and I attracted another one, and then I attracted my dream job. So it'll come, but there was lots of times when I wanted to act when I wasn't inspired. And, you know, the old approach was like, you better figure something out and do something. And then I had to just, okay, no, I'm not inspired. So I'm just going to go to the park again, or I'm just going to go for a drive again, or whatever.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so that's like cultivating this abundance of inspiration that's actually always coming to you. Except if you're living the old approach, you don't see it as inspiration. You see it as crazy ideas that you're making up in your head that you could never do.
Yeah.
That's why you got to get a backstory going so that you understand that these nuggets of inspiration are gifts from the universe, are divine. And so you start out slowly and you do one little thing after another and pay attention. That's part of what the boot camp is. There's a lot of work paying attention to what your inspiration was the day before. And so when you're filling that out, you've got to think about what was the inspiration yesterday. And so now you pay attention to inspiration. Right. And by the end of the boot camp, you're really good at realizing what's coming in. And then you get to a place where I'm coming close to being now, where I'm just doing what I'm inspired to do. And I wasn't feeling good this morning. And so I was looking, I was inspired to write this thing about a new approach to life. And I wasn't feeling up to it. And I'm like, this is not going to come out. I'm not feeling good. I'm totally tired. Let me see if I can find, was there another article about new approach to life? Was there something else I could do? And nope, I just had to do it. And so it came out. And that's what we're doing now. And, this is a production of an entire podcast plus an article that will be published in some magazine somewhere that really took 15 minutes. And, and acting in that inspiration, I can see is changing not only my life, but the lives of anyone who's listening to this or reading this article later.
Yeah.
All in 15 minutes.
Yeah. And, also just to, for people listening, what starts to happen too is, so for me, when I would just, not act on urges, but just wait for inspiration. And then again, like what I said, I attracted a job and then a better job. And then I attracted my dream job. Then you start to say, okay, you start to prove that, it's like you're trying it out and then you prove that, oh, okay. So if I'm just patient, if I just wait for inspiration and if I trust and not attached to things, it will work out. So you find these little proofs and then it allows you to do it more and more and more and trust more and more and to let go more and more. And that's that snowball that you want, to be able to be in the moment and totally trust and wait for inspiration and know that it's going to come.
Yeah. And then it builds momentum, and that's the momentum of confidence.
Yeah. Right.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Okay. The key to this new approach to life is to accept everything is right and good as it is now. You see, reality is nothing more than a feedback mechanism. You cultivate a feeling and then step back and allow the universe to deliver that feeling to you through the alteration of your physical reality. This is simply how the system works. There is more power in the system than you could imagine. The universe holds the key to the most elegant manifestations of your true desires. If these desires unfolded, you would live a life in bliss. This is the new approach to life.
So there's so much power in this, and our old approach is in resistance to this power by trying to make it happen on our own.
Yeah.
Instead of trusting that things are going to unfold in a way that will be beyond what you could have imagined.
Mm-hmm. Right. Totally.
Okay. Let's go to the next one.
It's 11:11 here, by the way. However, the lure of the old approach of control is quite strong due to the momentum of your life. If you are able to control conditions in order to relive the fear you feel, you will tend to do that until you come to realize this approach cannot work in this system of reality. This approach will never bring you what you truly want, only the superficial manifestation of certain insignificant and unsatisfying things you think you want. The old approach is not an effective way to navigate this reality, and this is why so many people are seeking a new approach to life.
I think this is unfolding in the last 5-7 years now. And I was talking to someone about the first time I went to an Abraham seminar. It was in Asheville. It was a 2-day event. And there was, maybe 100 people there. And there was one woman out of that whole group from England. She was 30 years old, and she worked in MI6, which is their secret service. She's like, you could never talk to anyone in England about this. They'd think you're nuts. Oh, I can't even tell people what I'm doing in America. They think I was crazy. They boot me out of my position. And now half the people that joined Friends of Joshua are in England. You know,
Yeah.
It's such a shift in that time, and more people are in France and other parts of the country. And of course, those who are going to Joshua seminars, they're getting sold out like this. There's 500 people in those things now. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger because people are coming to understand that this polarization that's occurring now is causing them to just, snowball into trying to control things that they can't control, and they're coming to figure out that there's got to be a better way. So they find law of attraction and they get into it, and they still are operating in the approach of control, which I think we will always be operating in to some degree. But at least we understand this, and in the boot camp, there's a process for living a new approach to life.
Yes, agreed. And do you know that you were talking about Abraham seminars, and you said Joshua, 500 people at Joshua events?
Oh, really? Did I say that?
Mm-hmm. That's just a little preview of what's to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
All right, let's wrap it up with the last one.
If you have recently discovered the law of attraction, you might have experienced some frustration trying to implement it into your daily life. There is a reason for this. You are still trying to control your conditions. The law of attraction will show you how this approach can never bring you what you want because you are focused on the lack of what you want. You will attract more experiences that show you how you truly lack what you want. The law of attraction is working perfectly and never fails. It's your current approach to life that is working in opposition to this primary universal law. Change your approach to engage this law to bring you what you truly want. You do that by absolutely accepting yourself, all others, and the world around you as it is right now. You must consider everything to be perfect as it is, and right as it is. Otherwise, you will continue to live in opposition to the system of physical reality. With our love, we are Joshua.
Oops, you read Mark's part there.
Oh,
Mark,
Yeah.
you can repeat.
Can I do that?
well,
Can I do it again?
Take
Let's do
two.
it now.
Take two.
All right. With our love, we are Joshua.
Very good.
Very good.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, so I mean, this is it. You got to understand that you're perfect as you are. You're never going to improve because you're perfect. That this idea of improvement or self-improvement is sort of an illusion because you're perfect as you are right now. Once you accept that fact, then you just realize that all you're doing is expanding. And that example is when you were a baby, you were perfect. When you were 2 and could walk, you weren't more perfect. You were just an expanded version of who you were, right? And you weren't less perfect either if you stumbled. So start with this premise that everything is perfect as it happened because it's the reflection of your vibration. And you don't want it to be any different than it is because you want this feedback that comes from what's out there in your reality. And then don't get mad at the reality for showing you something that's
Right.
Something you don't want because it's in your vibration. Work on those limiting beliefs and you'll change your vibration. Work on your perspective of yourself and you'll change your vibration. Yeah. Raise your perspective of yourself to see yourself from as this limitless being of pure positive love and acceptance, and your reality will start to form around that.
Yeah. So anyone listening, if you feel like your life is just falling apart and unraveling, you have to, your life is where you are right now. It's perfect. Now that's something that's hard.
You just can't see it, because
you just can't see it.
You hear so many times when people say that was the best thing that ever happened to me. That thing I once perceived as a tragedy was the best thing that ever happened. That happens all the time.
All the time.
What you don't hear is people going, I'm so glad I stayed safe and didn't do what I was inspired to do. Right?
Yeah.
No one says that.
Yeah.
It's so true.
And what Joshua was talking about earlier this week was you adopt these limiting beliefs and you tend to strengthen them as you grow older. and pile more on and get more firm in your stance of limitation. And you have this momentum of spiraling downwards into thicker and heavier and more robust limiting beliefs until you reach old age and you just completely withdraw from everything because, and what we're doing now is we're stopping the momentum of that and we're starting to peel away those layers and change our momentum towards, I guess, greatness, towards limitlessness, towards moving in this direction of what is bigger and brighter and bolder, even though it could be scary. It will be scary,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that point that you're talking about, Mark, like, I mean, if it feels like your life is falling apart, there is this really, and I don't know if it ever ends, but like this place in between where you're shifting from the old approach to the new approach. So you're taking off all of these old limiting beliefs, but like before you've really integrated all of or more of the like empowering beliefs where it does just feel very raw and vulnerable.
Yes.
And so it's just, I think
you're in the process of that.
Right. A matter of trusting that it is all perfect and that, we are exactly where we're supposed to be. And I saw this, I don't know, something on Instagram that said, like, if you haven't experienced an adversity, I judge you as unfortunate because how will you ever know what you're capable of?
That's what you see a lot of people protecting their children from adversity because they feel negative emotion when they see their kids go through something and they wish they didn't feel that way. And so what they're doing is from their perspective, they're saving their child from this negative emotion. But from the higher perspective, what they're doing is they're controlling the conditions in order for them not to feel bad. And they're robbing the child of this defining moment where they get to push through whatever adversity there was. Of course, that's just going to happen and they'll figure it out. But from our perspective, we can sort of see what's really happening here. It's like, I had thought that the idea of giving everyone a participation award was a thing based in love, but really it's a thing based in fear.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh, right.
Because they don't want
fear
the
of
kids
negative
to
emotion.
Yeah.
Right.
They lose.
Yeah.
They
don't want the kids. Yeah. Yeah. I let my kids feel everything. I'm like, it's okay. It's all for you. You'll be all right. You'll survive. And letting them know. I mean, how do you know, like you said, what you truly want if you don't experience what you don't? It's like, I don't want that. Okay. And it helps you to realize.
Yeah. All right, you guys, this was the best podcast ever.
Really? Ever?
Always.
Of all podcasts.
In the history
of ours or just everyone else's too, or like
ever.
Are you sure you're not just giving us a participation award?
I am not trying to save you from negative emotion. I know you don't really care, but I'm just saying that this is what happens. We release a podcast like this, and we think it's the best podcast ever. And then I get literally suitcases full of letters and fan mail and postcards from people all over the world saying this was the best podcast ever.
Are they all written in your handwriting?
I know they're not. Some of them are. Yeah. And emails. I get too many emails now. They're just coming in. Love your podcast. Loved Mark. Loved Kyla. Loved Wendy. Loved Tracy. You guys are the best. That's what's coming in now. I'll share them with you sometime. I don't want to bother you with them or build your egos up too much.
You want us to keep trying and keep struggling and like reaching for those higher goals.
Right. Okay, I think I mentioned this last week, but the next boot camp is starting April 29th. If you'd like to learn how to engage a new approach to life, this might be something you're interested in. Please send me an email at joshuateachings@gmail.com, and I'll get you all the information. There's also going to be a couple little mini courses that I'm going to release that you can get if you are a member of the Friends of Joshua Facebook. And so how do people do that, by the way?
It's a group.
Search groups in Facebook, Friends of Joshua, and then ask to be included, and we'll include you. Of course, if you have any questions for Joshua, you can go to the website, teachingsofjoshua.com, click on questions, I guess. And, there's a Law of Attraction cruise. If you hurry, you can still get on.
Yeah, hurry. It's not that, I didn't think it was that expensive. I mean, I think it's very affordable.
Yeah. And it's leaving out of New Orleans on Monday, April
9th?
8th. And coming back on Friday or Saturday.
Saturday the 13th.
Yep.
Thank God it's not Friday the 13th.
Right. And thank God Gary's not planning this thing, because it's going to leave sometime around, I don't know, the 8th.
I'm just going to show up.
Around the 13th.
I'm going to show up, do my thing, and meet a bunch of cool people. All right. So that's it for this week's show. Please listen to Joshua Live. If you would like to, you can actually participate in the Joshua Live. Ask your own question. Just go to the Friends of Joshua Facebook page, and on Monday we will send a link to the Joshua Live, which is done at 2 p.m. usually every Monday.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
Daylight savings, not with us.
Not with what?
I don't know.
What?
Are you in daylight savings or out of daylight savings?
Delete that. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, we'll record. We'll edit that.
Wow, this just turned from the best podcast ever to the worst one.
It kind of messed it up at the end.
Hey, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening.
Love you too.
And see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.